Tonight's story is not about fame or fortune. It's a story about love, the kind that survives time, distance, and even death itself. A story of faith, hope, and the quiet power of the human heart. So sit back and listen closely. Our story begins long ago, in a small countryside home, where a young boy named Paul grew up under the tender care of his mother, Betty. Her laughter filled the house. Her kindness was the light that kept the darkness away. And though the world outside whispered of war and loss, inside those walls, love was the only truth that mattered. Years passed like soft pages in a forgotten book. The boy became a man, a gentle, curious, full of dreams too bright for his small hometown. At university, surrounded by books and autumn leaves, Paul carried with him his mother's strength and her faith in goodness, never knowing that his own story was just beginning. It happened on an ordinary day, when the sun leaned gently through the autumn leaves, and destiny, disguised as coincidence, brought two souls face to face. Her name was Lindsay. One smile and the noise of the world around them simply faded. In that moment, Paul didn't just see her, he felt as if he had finally come home. Days turned into laughter, and laughter into love. They walked through the campus hand in hand, two hearts learning the language of each other's silence. Every look, every breath between them felt like a promise whispered by the universe. Paul had never known such peace, and Lindsay had never known such warmth. And then came the day when love asked for forever. Under a sky of soft light and trembling joy, Paul and Lindsay stood side by side, their hands joined, their eyes speaking vows words could never hold. The world seemed still, as if even time stopped to witness the beginning of their eternity. But peace never lasts forever. One morning, the air carried a different silence. The silence before a storm. The world had once again chosen war. And this time it came for Paul. He kissed Lindsay's trembling hands, looked into her tearful eyes, and promised to return. His mother stood in the doorway, holding her breath, watching her son walk away, while the sound of marching boots swallowed the world. The battlefield was no longer a place. It was an echo of pain, a shadow of the world he once knew. Smoke covered the sky, and every heartbeat sounded like the end of time. Paul ran not for victory, but for those he loved. And then a flash. The earth broke open beneath him, and the light went out. For a moment, there was nothing. No sound, no breath, no sky, only silence, and the slow fading memory of home. Hours turned into days, and the battlefield forgot the names of the fallen. Paul lay among the shadows, his breath a faint, his heartbeat fragile. But fate was not done with him yet. From the fog, a stranger appeared, a man with tired eyes and hands that knew mercy. He found Paul barely alive, and carried him away from the sound of war. For the first time in days, the world was quiet again. Then came the letter sealed with sorrow, wrapped in silence. The army wrote what no heart was ready to read, that Paul had fallen, a hero among the dead. The house grew cold. His mother, Betty, wept in the quiet corners, and Lindsay, she stopped speaking to the morning light. But nights had their own truth. In dreams, they saw him standing in the distance, reaching out, calling softly. One morning, Betty told her daughter-in-law of the dream, and Lindsay froze out. She had seen the very same. From that day, they went together, every evening, to the small chapel at the edge of town. They prayed not with words but with tears, whispering his name into the candlelight. Far away from home, in a quiet hospital room, Paul lay between the worlds. One made of silence, and one made of love. Days blurred into dreams, and in those dreams, he saw them, his mother and Lindsay, bringing him a piece of bread, whispering, "Eat, my son." Live. Every night, they came again, two figures of light, walking through the dark, and with every dream, his heart grew stronger. The doctors called it a miracle, but he knew the truth. It was their prayers that found him, and pulled him back to the light. When his strength returned, so did his memories. The sound of home, the smell of bread, the laughter that still lived somewhere inside him. One morning, He asked for paper and ink. His hands trembled, but his heart was steady. "My dear mother," he wrote, "tell Lindsay that I'm alive. Tell her that love kept me breathing, even when the world had stopped." And as he wrote, the sunlight touched his hand, a quiet promise that he would see them again. Months passed. The war had ended, but not for everyone. For some, battles continued in the heart. When Paul finally returned home, he found an empty house. The laughter was gone. The windows were silent. The neighbors told him his family had moved away. He smiled faintly, though his heart trembled. He wrote down the new address, and as evening fell, he walked toward the church at the edge of town. Inside, two women sat in candlelight, his mother and his wife, whispering his name in prayer, unaware that a miracle was only steps away. The small child of his daughter rose from her mother's lap. Giggling softly as if she'd seen an angel, she toddled toward the door and into her father's waiting arms. For a moment, time itself stopped, and when the two women turned, tears and laughter became one. They embraced, all four, mother, son, wife, and child. The war, the distance, the darkness, all forgotten in that single moment of love. And so, their story reminds us, love never dies. It only waits to be found again. Subscribe to the channel and stay with us. More incredible, heartfelt stories are waiting for you.